All right. Hello, everyone. In case you are wondering who I am, my name is Antonio Bryce. I am the creator of the comic book series brand, and last I checked, we were just $3 away from crossing $76,000 on Indiegogo. The director's commentary is only $5 in case anyone wants to purchase that and put us over that 76K mark. But I have a return champion here with me. Had a pretty successful campaign for Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, which is still available on the Indiegogo. And now he's here to talk about his latest project, The Deep Dark. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Gilbert Deltrez.
What's going on, Mr. Antonio? Thank you for having me, brother.
What's going on? All right. So you have when you were here before, you had the you had the Galactic Rodents campaign going. It looked like a great book, but it looked like it was kind of struggling to get some eyes on it. That's what it always seems to boil down to. Just even if the book is good, you just got to be able to get it in front of the right people, and obviously it started picking up steam. I know I was tweeting it out, and people started seeing it. It's like it started being seen. It's like every other tweet I was looking at on my timelines, people were retweeting, and I was like, all of a sudden, what's the thing? Chupacabras, whatever the things.
Oh, the capybara.
Capybara. I was like Chupacabra. But yeah, I started seeing capybaras all over my damn timeline and stuff. People making fan art. It felt like the 80s and the 90s again. It was like Teenage Mutant Ninja. I was like, that's when you know you got something, because people were like, dude, this book is dope. Let's get it funded. And looks like you're about what, 22,000 on that campaign now, doing all right. Yeah.
I gotta thank God for that. Yeah, because like you were saying, man, it on that last day, it wasn't looking like it was getting there, but people were tweeting it out. People were seeing it. Like you said, a lot of the time, most of the problem.
I saw Ethan Van Sciver tweeted it out, and a lot of people
retweeted. John Malin retweeted. So that, like I said, that helps. And it was Rage Golden Eagle. He kind of saw a tweet.
Oh yeah, that's my man. Yeah, that's my no. Trust me, that's my dude right there. Yeah. Matter of fact, I got to go back on because I want to get on. We're closing the brand campaign down on the 2nd, and want to.
Oh, that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good thing is I've been very happy that we got everything done. At least as far as the colors, so we got to get the font added to the script. But matter of fact, let me see. I'm checking here. I see. Let me see here. GK1 is telling me to refresh my campaign. So let me see where brand is now. Yeah, because like I said, we were $3 away. So I'm refreshing. I'm checking out to see where we at. All right. So we're refreshing the campaign. All right, $76,002. So nice, yes, well, GK1. It sounds like you did pick up the director's commentary, and I can't wait to have Kanan here, and we're gonna have a lot of fun when he's like signing books and all that kind of stuff. So I can't wait for that. That is definitely something I've been looking forward to, and I appreciate Mrs. White for allowing me to borrow her husband for a few days. Come down. Yeah. I had to ask his lovely bride, Miss Cicely White, and yes, she said, he needs to get out of the house. So when we get everything printed, and I got to foot that plane ticket and have him come down here. But
that's gonna be special.
But I mean, hey man, I see you out here doing your thing. I see you. You be posting up pictures of your lovely wife and your little baby. Yeah, man. I see you getting it in, man. You've been fruitful. You've multiplied. So what's it like in the Deltrez household? Did I lose Gilbert? Y'all still got me. Okay. Oh no, man. I hate that, because it was like all of a sudden I was like, I'm not that interesting. He just Stuff froze up. But let me see. Can't I get him back? He'll probably have to. I know sometimes when you lock up, it either will fix itself or you have to get out of the room and then come back in. So hopefully. Well, how are you guys doing? I'm here since I'm actually live and everything. Let's see how you guys are actually doing in the chat. Rod, Super Looper, I see you out there. And yeah, man. I had you on. I was like, yeah, you're doing aren't you working on Detective Dead as well? Let me see. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. Let me see. Let me fix this. I've got him back. Hold up. Let me. Okay, hold up. Bam.
Bladow.
All right, hold up. Oh no, wait a minute. Okay. I thought you were muted. I was like, oh no, did I lose you again?
I think YouTube's up to something, man. YouTube's up to something. They don't want us talking, man.
They're up to schemes and scams, man.
Because this happened last time. I think it kicked me off once or twice.
Yeah, they up to the schemes and scams, man. They up to the schemes and scams. YouTube is they own that freeze the stream life.
Seriously.
Yeah, Ethan froze up. I saw somebody was giving him crap this morning about but Ethan was he streamed twice yesterday, and both times it was like it was like it's like freezing up. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not getting like 1,400 people showing up whenever I'm streaming. So I don't know. I don't know if
that could be causing some bandwidth issues, right? When you have that many people coming to the channel.
I don't know how to stream because I figure. I know back in the day when people, like when you used to do stuff like this in these kind of grainy live chat videos that I used to see like on MySpace like 15 years ago. Man, I'm telling my age. MySpace, man. Remember when MySpace was popping? I don't know if you had a MySpace.
I did actually. That was a beautiful time. I mean, I think it's still out, right? Isn't it? Is it still out there?
It's still,
right?
Right? It was owned by Fox. It was sold to Fox. For what was it? I know when they sold it for like $150 million or something.
Jesus.
And then I know Justin Timberlake his company bought they bought MySpace for like only $25 million, but that was like 5 or 6. That's what I'm saying. The value of the site depreciated. And I don't even know. I don't even know if he owns it anymore. But I mean, he's because Justin Timberlake. That's one thing I watch him. And he's got like 3 or 4 homes. He's got I know he's got a home out in like Colorado. He's got a home here in Tennessee. He's got another home. I think he's got like a penthouse in New York. I was hearing him because he does like Fashion Week. He's got clothing line and the whole deal. Him and his wife.
He's a mogul.
Yeah, that's why I was saying. Yeah, that's why I was like when I heard that he was like a part owner of MySpace, and I was like, damn, MySpace is still a thing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to squeeze something out of it. I don't know what. Some kind of value, right?
Well, that's the thing. When MySpace was big, I was living with 2 guys, and they were in this band called the Tony Dance and Tap Dance Extravaganza. They were signed to Black Market Activities and Metal Blade Records. Metal Blade Records was like one of the first record labels to have Metallica out and everything. They've been around for like 30, 40, 35 years, I think. And they were signed to, that album label, and they were, don't live with metalheads. Don't have metalheads as your roommates. I will tell you that. That's the thing. When they were on MySpace back then, like say like 2008, 2009, they had about 20,000 people following their MySpace. And this is before everything that, they didn't even have like a mobile app back then. I remember it's crazy. And then I started hearing people talk about this thing called Facebook. And they were like, hey, there's a thing called Facebook. And I went to Facebook and it was boring. It was just I was like, this is kind of corny. I don't know what this is. It's like, I was like, this ain't gonna work. I was like, they think they're gonna challenge MySpace. And then they came out with there was a company called Zynga. They came out with this game called Farmville.
That was it. It was a wrap. I think we all had a Farmville phase, right?
Oh my God.
My wife had one big time.
Facebook, when they put on Farmville,
Yeah.
they exploded in growth. That was one of the big things. And it's crazy. I told my ex about this. I used to be like a Farmville addict because the game was so addictive. I was setting up these like I'd plant some strawberries and it'd say, oh, the strawberries take 8 hours to harvest. So I'd be like, okay, well, I gotta plant my cabbage. And I had all this. I still got my account. I just don't know if they're doing anything with it. But
for shits and giggles, you should go on that account on a live stream and it'd be like, let me check on my farm.
Oh man, yeah. But no, dude, I was playing there, I set my strawberries and I was like, okay, they're going to harvest in 8 hours. And so I'd be like, okay, I'm tired. I need to get a nap. So I would plant things and someone laughed at me. They were like, so wait a minute, you were planting fake crops in a video game and it's basing your schedule around getting up to play the video game. And I was like, yeah. And I was in a relationship. That's the thing, because people, they normally like, oh, well, you must not been able to get no woman. I was engaged. I had, my ex. I was
the chicks love Farmville.
Yeah, she was the one that
man. She got you on it a little bit hooked, right?
And this was so funny. Her name was actually Dawn. My ex's name was Dawn, and I used to tell her, it was so funny because when Brand started selling, and I started talking about Dawn Craven and everything. They said, wait a minute, Antonio, you mentioned you had an ex named Dawn. And I said, yeah, but Dawn contacted me when she saw how much money the book was coming in. And she says, this is the book you used to talk about when we were laying in bed and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's the book. I was telling, because I told her when I met her on MySpace. She sent me a friend request. It was the craziest thing. She sent me a friend request and I didn't know her. I didn't know she lived in the next town over. And I was like, I don't know who this woman is, but she's cute. And here's the thing. No one knew what catfishing was back then and all that kind of stuff. So, but I started figuring out if a chick is hot and she's sending me a friend request, it's probably a dude trying to get money out of her. That's what I started learning on it, because that's, I'm on dating sites and stuff like that. And when I see a chick post these super hot photos and stuff, and she's like incredibly smoking hot, and I'm like, I know, what was a man said, a guy's got to know his dating average. It's like after you've dated a few women, you start noticing like the hot level of certain women. Like you know what you can pull.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you out there single, if you go to a bar one night, the level of chick that's you're going to be, that's going to be attracted to you just based on the fact that you've been dating and have a history, right? So at that point, I start going, okay, that's a super hot chick. That's probably a scam. That's and sure enough,
what is she looking for?
I'd get a like a chick that looked like she's got Sports Illustrated type photos on her profile, and then I would she'd send me a friend request and I'd add her, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm in the Ukraine and I need an American to like send me money so I can come over and get a passport or something, get a green card. I had women that was doing it. I was like, oh, okay, so that's the hustle. And that was, like I said, that was like 12, 13 years ago. That was way, way back,
Yeah.
Like
or you get the letters from someone from another country, an email.
Yeah, like the Nigerian prince or whatever.
Yes,
it's like
yes.
the royal family of Nigeria, bequeathed me the sum of 4 million pounds, but I don't have a bank account. So if you just send me your that kind of hustle. That's what they would do. And so they would do that. But like I said, if you see like super hot, gorgeous women, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm okay looking, but I also know I'm a big fat guy. And this chick looks like a Sports Illustrated model. So she's probably not really into me. Just based on, although I've met I actually every now and again you what do you say you bat outside the curve and you manage to
hit
pull
that
one.
homer.
Yeah. Because I there was a chick and I mean this she had been in exotic dance. I mean this chick she was a bad chick but she was also bleeding my bank account. I mean she was nice to me. But she was nice to me because I was spending that money on her and stuff. So
you had the confidence, but then she liked you, and then she's like, well, she also likes your money too. So she's like, well, let me see if I can milk this as much as I can. And you're just like, honey, come on, man. That's why you got to be like, sorry.
But see, I said that I said this before. I said a lot of guys that spend a lot of money on women, they normally only complain if the women don't do something in exchange for the money.
Right.
You know, that's going back thousands of years. You know,
that's the oldest profession.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, even just look at, you know, if you take it from a marital point of view, like say I was like a rich baron or something, like say 500-600 years ago, and I see someone and I want that guy's daughter. A lot of times a rich guy would be like, hey, let me marry your daughter, and I'm gonna give you X amount. You know, guys would swap their daughters around, you know, that kind of thing. You know,
sometimes the parents would even offer the daughter, hey, I don't know if you got, I got a 12-year-old here. She's gonna be, she's blossoming.
And that's exactly what, a lot of times you would see stuff like that. I mean, that's one thing I always liked about shows like Game of Thrones. They would kind of deal with that. It's like, okay, well, people would use marital bonds. It was a marriage wasn't about love. It was more like a business transaction. It's like, oh, this guy's family is connected.
Yeah, they never married for love. They never. It was always, it's just like, position of power, position of land, armies. We need this. We need troops. It's all, like you said, it's negotiation. That's how it was. So that's why Jamie and and Cersei, they had a little fling on the side. Because that was true love to them, even though there's family, which was crazy as what it was.
Well, now I've actually seen George R. R. Martin. And he talked about that where it was more, he's looking at like some of the ancient royal families. A lot of the like Egyptian families would do that. They, like the pharaohs, they would marry brother and sister and stuff like that because they want to keep those bloodlines. It's like you're not royal blood. I don't want to. Boom. So it was that kind of deal. So that's like I said, when I would get these weird requests, and I was like, man, that chick's smoking hot. There's no way she can be, So I started doing stuff like, because I knew they didn't pull the photos off the internet or something, right? I was like, hey, send me a picture of yourself holding a pie or something. I would send it because I was like, if you can't send me that,
if you can't send that, that's
then I'm just like, you should be able to go to your kitchen and grab a fork or something and hold it up, and then that way I know it's really you. But it's like that's the thing. I noticed a lot of people that was like I said, that's early internet fake out scam stuff, where they just pull somebody's photos off one of these modeling sites or something, and they'd be like, hi Antonio, I really like you, you're cute, how are you? And I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, I got a friend request from a young lady named Dawn, and I thought, like I said, she had a couple photos up, and I mean, face was just absolutely stunning. I was like, just beautiful eyes and the whole thing. And I was like, okay, this is probably a scam. Okay. I accepted the friend request anyway. And I sent her a message. She messaged me back. I was like, okay. She, like I said, she didn't live that far over. She only lived about 45 minutes away. And I was like, okay, send her another message. And she sent me another message. And I started asking, because that was another thing I noticed. I would get these hot chicks and they would send me these messages. And then again, they would hit me with the, well, I live in Canada, actually. I know my profile says that I live in Knoxville or whatever, but I live in Canada. And, maybe in a couple of months or something, you can send me a plane ticket and we can come there. And so I was like, okay, that's the scam right there. That's when they're trying to pull the finesse. And so she was telling me that she lived over in this town called Lebanon, which is, like I said, it's not, I can get on my road right now and I can drive to Lebanon. I can be there in like 40 minutes. It doesn't take that long to get there. Maybe if I hot footed a little bit, I can get there about 30 minutes, because
oh wow.
It's not that far. So she was like, it's It's yeah, it's not that far. And I said, okay, she's mentioning things that are local. I've been to Lebanon a bunch of times, and I said, okay, she actually knows. Yeah, because I was talking to this woman on the internet, and she's telling me, like I said, she had her on her profile. It had her listed as, just a few cities over here in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And then when I got talking to her, she said, "Oh, I'm actually, I used to live in Tennessee, and I'm actually, I just separated from my ex, and we live in Michigan now." And she was talking about maybe I could fly her back down and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, she's scamming. She's trying to hustle." So she wants me to send her a plane ticket and, non-refundable, all this kind of stuff. I was like, okay, she's trying to pull a hustle. But this girl, she was telling me about all the little local stuff. I was like, yeah, that's in Lebanon. I know about that.
Yeah,
she was dropping all this stuff. And I was like, okay. I was like, because that's the thing. I don't want to get too deep in if they're pulling the scam. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, but as we kept talking, she kept dropping stuff. I was like, I know about that. I said, it sounds like this is legit. And then she was like, she hadn't given me her phone number yet because she said that she had met some other guy, and she gave him her phone number, and he became like a weird stalker dude. And I was like, oh, okay, I got you. We can just talk in emails and stuff. I said, okay. And as we kept talking, she was like, I'm going to trust you with my phone number. And she said, but she told me, she said, if you're a stalker, I'm going to kick you in the nuts. And I was like, I'm not a stalker. And she sent me her phone number. So then I text her. And that's when I had a flip phone, That was the thing. I remember I was on, I don't even know if they had 2G. It was like, I think it was just like 2G about to go. Uh-oh, I lost Gilbert. That's crazy. I like talking to Gilbert. I hate when we lose each other like that, but I know he'll be back. But let me see what's going on. Let me see what you guys. Oh, okay. I see some of y'all. Some of y'all have played Farmville. What I'm saying. Yeah. But okay. Hold on. Gilbert's back. Let me get Gilbert back. Boom, boom. Black hair. All
right.
It
was getting good, and they're just you said you're about to drive out to meet her.
Yeah. That's why I was like, yeah. So I'm sitting there. She's she sent her phone number. We talked, and I said, I think this is a real chick, because like she was gorgeous. I mean, she was plus size, but I mean, I'm telling you,
hey, there's a lot of beautiful plus size women, bro.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Plus size is a great size. I'm just saying, there's a lot of beautiful women coming all shapes.
I showed people her photo, and they were like, man, that girl is beautiful. And I'm telling you, she was stunning. She was about 3-4 years younger than me. Let's see. Yeah, she was born in 1978. Matter of fact, her birthday is December the 3rd. So her birthday is December the 3rd. So she turned 40 last year, I remember. And she's a grandma now. And but she had 2 kids.
The hot grandma.
And like I said, this was 2008. And she had 2 kids. And she's short though. I'm telling you, I met her because I'm like 6'1", and I met her and she was like 4'10". She come up to my
petite. Wow, small.
But yeah, she was, kind of, like I said, she plus size, but she was like 4'10". But she was, man, I show people her. I mean, she always had this kind of look of sadness in her face. I remember she was just sitting there, and she always had these like deep reflective looks in her eyes when she'd be like, and I'd be like, oh, okay, what's going on? And it was interesting, but we decided to meet, and we had a date at IHOP. I remember we had an IHOP, and I mean, like I said, she was a real person.
Yeah.
And so when we actually met, and we went to IHOP, and it just seemed like we were soulmates or something. I was like, I was with this chick for 4 years.
It was a good connection.
Yeah, I mean, it was nothing, and I'm serious. We would lay in bed together, and we would just talk. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things, where it's not just a physical thing. It was crazy. I was like, man, we sitting all this time in the bed. We ain't even doing that. We just talking and we're enjoying it.
That's a deep connection. If you get to that point where you don't mind, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't mind being around each other.
because that's one thing I told her. I said, as you get older, you're going to find out, you know, the physical thing kind of wanes down. Mm-hmm. So I like the fact that we had, you know, the ability to talk to each other and everything. And just, we had that kind of deep connection. But yeah, but she, as I got to know her, she was a little crazy. But I met that chick on my, yeah, she was a little crazy. Yeah.
That was a caveat.
She was rather,
but she was crazy. She had all that, but she had a little crazy wrapped in there.
Yeah, she could get in. I could see certain things, you know, and she had met a few guys and they had been kind of abusive and stuff like that. She'd been, you know, into some domestic situations and stuff. But I met her on MySpace. That's why I was like, every time I think about MySpace, and remember the guy you create your MySpace account and that guy Tom would be your friend.
Yeah, your first friend.
Hi, Tom.
Yeah.
You know what? I sent Tom a DM.
And he answered you. Come on.
Yeah, he actually answered
it was actually
me.
Tom.
Tom had like what? He had like 25 million friends on MySpace. I couldn't believe it. I was like, Tom actually answered me back.
That's actually pretty cool. I don't think no one ever. They were probably a small handful that actually.
No. I follow. I think he calls himself MySpace Tom or something on Twitter. He's verified. Yeah. But I follow. I was like, I found him a few years ago, and I said, I follow him on Instagram and on Twitter. And I was like, just for old time's sake, let me go ahead and follow Tom on Twitter.
That's hilarious. I'm actually gonna look up MySpace Tom.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I follow him. He's got an Instagram too. He took, like I said, he made like 125, 150 million when they sold MySpace originally.
Oh, that dude's living large.
And because I remember someone was cracking on him. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. And someone was cracking. It was like, dude, you're dumb. You had MySpace and you totally blew it. Blah blah blah. And he was like, dude, I made like $150 million on that deal. What are you talking about? And I was like,
no, I mean, that's big money. I'm gonna ask you this question, right? Because this is an entrepreneurial question, right? We know Tom sold his work. He got 120 something million. Great. Let's say brand, right? Let's just say he catches the eye of a producer or someone, let's just say, right? And they see the universe you created. Let's just say you did your couple of volumes, right? Let's say you got your span of books, right? So it's not just one book. Like you show and you can world build, right?
Right.
And they want to give you an offer. But this person has heavy connections to like SJW type stuff. But listen, they see Antonio Bryce, black man, makes this cool comic book, you know, black artists. They're going for that. They want that representation. They see you as a legitimate, like, hey, we really want this book. Let's say whatever company wants it, right? They're gonna offer you, I don't know, we can't, let's keep it realistic. Let's say they offer you, let's say, I don't know, 20 million. Right? Because it would be here's the thing, 20 million, okay, and they want complete rights to it because they want to create audio visual stuff. They want to create a series. They want that. And they're like, hey, 25 million. I'm not saying 150 million because I mean, who wouldn't say no to that? You get what I'm saying? Like, who says no to that?
Yeah, I had to have a whole bunch more sales to get that kind of money. Yeah, I'd have to be like
25 mil because they see the brand franchise went to like 8 volumes and it's a hit each one, and they're like, okay, we like the world building here. We could connect a couple directors. Like the showrunner wants it, and he gonna give you 25 mil, but he wants the rights to it. He's like, I need the rights.
I really want to keep the rights to brand. However,
you should, yeah. But this is what it is. Yeah. Like, hey, take it or leave it type of deal. Your name's gonna be attached as, you know, created by. They even guarantee you when it opens up, like, you know, brand, you know, created by, story by Antonio Bryce. Like, first thing everyone's gonna see is your name, and then it goes into, but you don't have the rights, but you have it that created by. Like, it's always like they bought the rights from you, but you're always gonna get that. They have to
acknowledge that I created everything.
What they're gonna give you that.
It's like, well, see, that's the thing. You kind of get that kind of situation with Rob Liefeld with Youngblood, where now he doesn't own Youngblood anymore.
And I don't know how much he got for Youngblood. I don't know if it was worth it for him. I don't know.
It seems like now that he's like, well, I won't be involved in that property anymore. That, you know, that he's just like, well, this is what it is now, because I'm not involved. If any fans think I'm in, because they're gonna put out a Youngblood comic, but it won't have, you know, it'll just say created by Rob Liefeld, and then, you know, but he won't be getting any of the money from it or anything. So it's that kind of, you know,
it's a good question to have, because this is what we're getting into. Like where we're seeing franchise, we'll see Terminator is one, right? Like you can see when people do their own thing, but some franchises turn out good. Some like Game of Thrones had a good run. It ended horribly, right? It was so bad that even now Star Wars
money. George likes, and that's the thing. He at least still owns Game of Thrones. He just sold the television rights.
Yes, he still owns it.
And there's an interview. There's so many interviews with George R. R. Martin on YouTube, but I saw one where he was talking about when they first cut the deal. He had already had some licensing agreements for Game of Thrones merch in place. Somebody was like making like keychains and shot glass and stuff like that. Little knickknacks. It was because Game of Thrones was pretty big in the fantasy. He does a lot of fantasy cons, and he would win all these like this is the best fantasy novel of whatever year. He won. There's another series he wrote called Wild Cards. I think it's got like a mix of magic and like cowboys or something. And he had already licensed Game of Thrones out. So his lawyer and him, when they were sitting down with HBO, that was one of the sticking points on the deal, because HBO was like, no, we get all the merchandise rights. What are you talking about? And he's like, we can give you merchandise rights that we haven't already allotted to some of these other companies. And they had to go back and forth on it, because not only you can make merch HBO, but what kind of merch can you make? Because you can't make a shot glass because this other company has the rights to make shot glass. That kind of thing. Yeah. They had already kind of licensed the thing out. And so HBO's like, well, if we blow this thing up, then the company that already owns these other merchandise rights, they're going to benefit because we don't own those rights.
Yeah.
So we're going to be helping out another company and we don't have the rights. So they had to go back and forth, and they figured out a balance, because like I said, he already had contracts in place. As the show went on, some of those other rights lapsed, and then HBO got everything. And then he said, once HBO got all the rights, you start seeing like keychains, lunchboxes, all this, which is what they wanted to do in the first place.
The hell out of it, and with good reason, though. With good reason, it's a business, man.
Yeah. And the thing about Game of Thrones as a Game of Thrones as a property is worth way more as a merchandising and television property. He's made way more money. He made good money off the books. He's made way more money since the show became popular. And that's the thing, so he figured that out. So he was even saying, even though when the show looked like it was kind of going downhill, because the producers, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, they had outran it takes him. So he still hadn't wrote The Winds of Winter. And based on everything I've seen on his updates, he's like, I'm going to have some kind of treatment for Winds of Winter by December. He ain't going to get there. I'm just being honest.
He got paid. He got where he's good. Where he's good. I'm sorry. Like, you can make any new IP, George R. R. Martin can, but man, if this is the thing, we're hungry now, right? I never had that offer, that $25 million offer that I'm hypothetically giving to, like the one that Tom got for $150 million. The freaking Benioff and Weiss, they had the option to do a new Star Wars movie, right? That was a big thing. That's why they rushed Game of Thrones season 8, right? They done said no. Whatever happened, the way Star Wars franchise is going, they don't, whatever. Maybe they didn't have the creative control they could have got. They said no. Netflix gave them $250 million to D.B. Weiss and Benioff. Netflix, they got all the creative freedom they want. But how did you drop Star Wars? I'm just trying to say, but they're doing their own thing for freedom. So this thing is it goes a lot of places. So George R. R. Martin don't need to do nothing. He's good.
Star Wars definitely has lost a little luster, though, if I'm being honest.
A lot of luster, right? A lot of luster.
It's definitely not what it was. But the only thing I'm kind of sad about is it sounded like Benioff and Weiss were doing what I had been hoping was going to be, instead of these new trilogies that they're making. I had always said, why aren't they making The Old Republic? Why aren't they doing
that, right? You could go see that crap was set how many years in the back? You could get Game of Thronesy in that type of, with the Old Republic. You could do so. Oh man, that's just one day.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So yeah, it's like I was like, some of the older, there was so many of those expanded universe Star Wars stuff, and I was like, that is just, you mine that material. There's so much material there that is cool, and I was like, instead of trying to go, okay, Luke and Leia and Han and do that, go in and just start fresh. Take the old Republic stuff.
You could do so much good.
Oh man! So at that point, I'm like, yeah. So that's what Weiss and Benioff were going to do, and then so they signed a Netflix deal. And they were like, yeah, they walked away. They also had a Civil War television show that they were working on with Aaron Magruder, the creator of the Boondocks, and it was supposed to be set in some kind of alternate reality where the South won the Civil War.
That would be interesting.
And yeah. And it was, I was like, okay, it sounded like an odd take on it, but I wanted to see what because I love Aaron Magruder. I love the Boondocks, which the Boondocks is supposed to be coming back. Although now that John Witherspoon has passed away, I wonder if they're going to replace him as the voice of Pops. They got Pops out there and everything. So, he was, they just had his little home going the other day. And I mean, everybody was there. I saw David Letterman. They had so many stars at his little ceremony, but yeah, they had, the place was packed, and they had like Jeffrey Osborne there singing. My mom used to love Jeffrey Osborne, so I was like, wow, they really did it up. But I was just really curious about how they do everything. It's just one day I would like to have my comic book property in a position where I could market it. And that was one of the things I noticed when I saw Galactic Rodents of Mayhem from you. I thought you have something. I was like, I honestly do. I was like, man, I think he's got something. You may not even realize. I thought that, and first time I talked to you, you had Lair. And I thought Lair was dope. Man, it was just something about Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. And you saw, I don't know how much did your crowdfund raise on Lair?
The Indiegogo raised $7K.
That's what I'm saying. You're over. Well, you like 22,000. It
was a big budget to get it done. It was a big, it was 15K because it's 100. It was a 100-page book, and paying the artist and everything, and then printing X amount of copies. It was that much. And even like that, when I made that calculation, I said I still got to show some out of my pocket. Like I made that calculation. Like I just have to. Thank God we're able to fund. We got 22K, and we'll try to get some more. So because I feel like the way things are going in comics right now, my dude, I'm like, Star Wars is just showing you. I mean, even look at Terminator. I'm like, these franchises, I mean, they're selling out in some way. I said, I want to bring something that takes the goodness that I remember growing up, that grit, that stick to it, and ferment that and just churn out something new. And that's what I want to do, was to create like a new franchise. So that's why I had the high goal, everything. And thank God that I was able to get funded, because now we going to work now. I saw your update, and it looked like you're starting on the pages and stuff. And man, like I said, I backed it, and we had a Kanan variant that was available, and and all this kind of stuff. So that's gonna be super duper limited. Where, dude, I could see that one going, like, in time. I could see that one going on eBay for a lot of money. So, I could see. It's just, it's so beautiful how it worked out that way. It's going to be like a collector's item, legit.
Oh, well, that's the one I back. I was like, I generally back. There's another project that I've been tweeting out, Cyborg USA.
That one looks cool too. Yeah,
is that Pablo Romero? On the art, and Rob Casey, and the creator and all this. And he talked to me about having Kanan do this cover for him. And
Kanan killed that cover, by the way, because I saw the update today. Kanan killed that cover.
That's
dude.
The thing. Cyborg USA, I really, really love. I love what he's doing, and when he sent me, I was like, "Hey, send me all your files and stuff so Kanan can have your references."
Get a good feel.
And he shot me everything, and I mean, and I saw someone else say, "Hey, it kind of reminded me of like the Mr. T cartoon from the '80s and the Mr. T cereal box and all this kind of stuff." And I was like, it really has a cool '80s vibe.
It does have an '80s vibe. He he has sent me a soundtrack that he did. I guess he got motivated. He's like, dude, I'm sending this to you. I want you to hear it.
Got the little Cyber USA song and stuff. That's why I was like, it really. No,
nostalgia is a powerful drug, and you got to treat it well. You can't do what Disney's doing. They're taking our nostalgia, trying to get us in the theaters to just take a dump on us. No, you got to treat that nostalgia good, man. You got to. Have you seen the new
Terminator? Because I saw just everything. A couple of my friends went. They wanted me to go this weekend. I almost went, but boy, when they came back out of that theater, they were hot, man. They were like.
It's like you took the soul ripped out of you. I saw it. I did a video on it. I did a 28-minute rant because I don't know if you like spoilers, but I did a
I watched some of this because they were telling me what happened. So I watched a couple of the YouTube videos that were like Nerdrotic talked about it, and there was
the way it opens up. It starts with T1, okay, where Sarah Connor's she's just going off on "You're all gonna die. Judgment Day's coming." In the police station, right? And it's just beautiful, right? And you feeling the juices pumped up. You're like, okay, they got it. The next scene, it's the de-aging where you see this young.
Oh yeah, I heard about that because they even got Edward Furlong. They got him to come back.
Young Edward, he's young. The young Edward Furlong. He looked just like he did in T2, literally. Yeah. And then you see Arnold. He looks so good. I thought Arnold was back. I'm like, oh, but is this just a CG? But it was so good. He comes out with a shotgun. Pow, right in John Connor. And then, of course, Sarah Connor with the handgun. You're too late. It's a Terminator. You ain't going to do nothing with that handgun. And he pops him, he kills him, and walks away. I'm like, what? And what's just crazy is this new Mexican chick. Okay, I got
the Danny. The Danny girl.
I'm a Latin American. I got no problem with representation. But are you trying to tell me you done killed John Connor and you just put this placeholder chick as the new leader, like it's just like a Band-Aid over like an open surgical mess? Are you kidding? How do you even, what balls do you got to even sign off on that being a great idea? She can't even handle, if you see the trailer, she can't even handle the gun. At the end of the movie, she's driving a Jeep. She can't even handle the freaking Jeep. I'm like,
that one was so funny. I watched Richard went. He likes to go to these movies and do his little, because actually I was showing Richard a couple of pieces for Brand this morning, and he was just giving me his opinions on them. And I heard him do his little Terminator thing because he went to. Because he's been watching Watchmen too, which I definitely want to. Watchmen has been interesting, but for different reasons.
Exactly.
I was like,
exactly.
But Richard was talking about that, like when the chick Danny holds the gun, that the gun is like it's bigger than her whole body, like it's like that kind of stuff. It doesn't look real.
Here's what's even worse. She starts with a handgun. She starts missing targets, right? Sarah Connor. I love Sarah Connor, but I mean, I get the wokeness in here, right? And this is where we don't have a Mary Sue, we have our Maria Sue, right? So she gives her the freaking big old gun she can't handle, and she whispers in her ear, she's like, "A Terminator just killed your family." Bruh, bruh, bruh. I'm like, come on, man. This is the Mary Sue syndrome right here. Really? That's it? That's all it took? And you just magic? You can't miss?
No, you just you don't understand how much I love Terminator 1 and 2.
I do understand. It's my freaking default ringtone. I got people that I got ringtones where that's your ringtone. But the default one is exactly that. If I don't know you when you're calling me, it's a Terminator ringtone. I love it.
I love that, man.
It's amazing. I love it.
Terminator. That was like, and then you see
that. Goosebumps, bro.
Oh, and then you see it, man, and it's like like the little kid that his uncle touched him inappropriately all of a sudden.
It was just bad. My brain, you know how sometimes when you have traumatic, things that happen, your brain blocks stuff out. My brain, right, blocked out Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, Genesis.
Salvation was
it tried, but exactly.
I thought they had a great effects budget. They clearly, for sure. Terminator Salvation. I was like, if there was a way, because I definitely love Christian Bale. Christian Bale's a badass actor.
I love him too.
I thought it would, but there were a couple of issues there with the movie. But I wish they could have saved it and done a sequel to that.
The heart was in the right place, but since it didn't do good, and then we got Genesis, which I watched.
Genesis was awful, dude.
I couldn't finish it.
Awful.
I fell asleep so many different times. I didn't even finish it. I put it back. You could put the chick from Game of Thrones in there.
Yeah, they had Amazon. They had it on Amazon Prime, and I watched it there. My Amazon Prime subscription, they put it on there, and I was like,
exactly, not worth it.
I was like, okay.
Think about what makes Terminator the Terminator, right? It's a hunt, right? There's terror. You don't feel safe. In this new one, it's just so ridiculously overblown with CGI, where it's just like you don't know what makes Terminator Terminator. One of my favorite Terminator scenes, and I'm going to part one. It isn't when Arnold blows up that police station. That's a gorgeous scene. But one of my favorite scenes is with Michael Biehn, where he's in the club with Sarah, right? And he's just waiting. He's waiting because he doesn't know the Terminator. He's just waiting for the perfect moment. What's that moment where freaking he pulls a gun? He's about to pop Sarah Connor in the face, and he comes out, bah, 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 just shotguns him through the window. I love that scene because it shows you a human could kick ass, but it just shows you the patience you have to, the nerves you got to do to wait for that moment to then just to make the Terminator, to know who the hell how the Terminator looks like. Are you, bro? That it goes so many levels, and then T2 we could go on and on and on.
Well, see, that's the thing, and you hear about some of the things with how Terminator 1 came out. Arnold Schwarzenegger was supposed to be the Michael Biehn character.
I'm glad he was a Terminator because you can't. It works, bro. You can't see it the other way.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the soldier that came back from the future to save Sarah Connor and everything, and and that and I can't remember who they had. Someone else was supposed to play the Terminator, and I think they said Sylvester Stallone had been approached, just like Sylvester Stallone was supposed to be Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That was Beverly Hills Cop was originally supposed to be a Sylvester Stallone movie.
Yeah,
and he wanted to rewrite the script because he had won an Oscar for writing the Rocky script. He was like yeah, I want to and they started letting Sylvester Stallone take the Beverly Hills Cop script, and he started writing it, and it became what he ended up filming the movie Cobra.
Oh, which is a nice one too. Yeah.
So so that was the thing. So the movie Cobra was
actually
that was the stuff that Stallone came up with to do Beverly Hills Cop with, and then it was supposed to be a serious action film. It was supposed to be about a guy with the Cobretti guy, the Motor City Cobra. Yeah. His friend's going to get killed, and he was going to go to Beverly Hills where these bad guys were, and he was going to take them out. That was the whole thing. That was the whole point of Cobra. That was originally Beverly Hills Cop. As they started talking to the producers and the money and all this kind of stuff, they didn't quite approve the budget. They didn't believe in Stallone's vision. They go, okay. At that point, they go, okay, this ain't working. And Stallone walked away, but he was like, this Motor City Cobra thing is a good idea. I still think it's a good idea. They brought in Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's a comedian.
Eddie Murphy's just
so then they go, okay, this movie's too serious. And so then they brought some comedy writers in to punch it up and add jokes to the script. So at that point, we have Axel Foley, because this was going to be Axel Foley, the Motor City Cobra, or whatever, and then, like I said, the whole dynamic changed with Eddie Murphy. But obviously, Beverly Hills Cop was a huge hit, which I keep hearing they're going to make part 4 sometime next year. So
I want to say I'm excited, but I mean, just the way these reboots been going, I don't got hope. I mean, you can't have high hopes. You got to go in there with no hope. So if you get surprised, it's a good thing.
Well, that's the thing. Although I will say I watched Eddie Murphy's Dolomite Is My Name on Netflix. I
gotta see that one. Worth it. Ooh! I gotta check it. Okay.
Now, one thing I will say.
Yeah.
One of the critiques I've seen in the movie, because they're like, Eddie's going to get an Oscar, but I saw some of the LGBTQ groups, and they were upset because Rudy Ray Moore was a closeted gay man. If you saw his movies, you could tell he was rather flamboyant, but they always portrayed him like he had a comedy album called Eat Out More Often, and he had, like a nude woman holding like a bowl of fruit or something. It was like, that was the whole, it was, trying to be funny. But at that point, he wasn't saying, although he had a he had a transgender. It was like one of his movies. I think it was The Human Tornado. He had a pretty well known trans. They didn't call him transgender, right? It was just someone that
was like that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, like I say, I don't guess people use that word anymore. But back then, they didn't have a word. They didn't have the term transgender. Right. And there was in The Human Tornado, there was a pretty well known cross dresser, transvestite, whatever you want to call him, and it was in the movie. Like I said, Rudy Ray Moore was gay. He wasn't openly gay, and like I said, I don't think he ever the whole time, even like in the 90s. I remember he was in the like Snoop Dogg in the Dog Pound. What was it? It's a Doggy Dog World, that video. From the Dog Pound album, and Rudy Ray Moore was in there, and they, we loved him because he was Dolomite, and at that point, I don't think he ever came out his entire life while he was still alive, but
they're complaining about that.
Yeah, well, people wanted Eddie Murphy to play a gay character. They was like Rudy Ray Moore was gay, so they wanted Eddie Murphy to actually play Rudy Ray Moore as a gay man. I don't know if that was something, Eddie Murphy was the executive producer on this script. Like I said, I thought the movie was fantastic. I watched it twice. I thought Dolomite's My Name's a brilliant movie. And it did, I didn't really think about it. And then I started noticing on my Google feed that there was quote unquote controversy because some of the LGBTQ groups were saying Rudy Ray Moore was gay. Why did they go to all that trouble to not portray, if you're doing a biopic of him being gay is part of that. So Eddie Murphy should have made sure that Rudy Ray Moore was portrayed as a gay man, but the movie was about making the Dolomite movie. That was what the movie was about. The fact that they didn't have Eddie Murphy portraying, they had gay people in the movie. What was it? That one guy what's the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, that guy that's the side character on there, the black dude. He's in there. It's pretty clear that guy's a gay guy.
That has some representation.
Yeah, they made a couple of jokes that were pretty clear that he was talking about, living that lifestyle and stuff. They had those jokes in there, but they didn't just go all over the. You don't see him. A lot of these quote unquote Oscar movies, they will have the two actors portray and do a love scene or whatever and that kind of deal. And I don't know. Like I said, I understand if I was a member of the LGBTQ community that they would want, they'd be like, hey, this guy, Rudy Ray Moore was gay because, people, but, it's the same thing when they've been talking about making Richard Pryor's biopic. They're like, if you're going to do Richard Pryor's story, then you need to address the fact that he was bisexual, that he was in relationships with men and stuff like that. Because Richard wrote about experimenting with men when he was younger. He, and then it's come out last year that apparently he had a tryst with Marlon Brando at a mansion. And it was like, that was something Quincy Jones put out there, I think. It was like Quincy Jones said that, that him and Rich Pryor hooked up in some weird thing or whatever. So I was like, okay, things happen. I just want the story to tell. I don't necessarily need to know about people's private lives in that fashion. But I understand why people want to do those kind of things. So, oh no, I lost Gilbert again. But hold up, he's coming back. Hold on, let me get him. Boom. Now it's like Brady Bunch. I got 3 Gilberts. Hold on, let me move it out. The Gilbert Bunch. The Gilbert Bunch. Hold on, we gotta do it like this. That's the way they became the Gilbert Bunch. And I was like, because you had this real deep look on your face. I was like, oh wow, he's really this. You were like Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes. You were like,
it froze on that face.
I was
you were getting to a good point, and I'm like, oh, don't tell me it's freezing again. And then you caught me at that spot. Like,
I was like, yeah. Well, honestly, I was just running my mouth, so I had no idea. I was like, okay. So I was coming to the end, and you were just like. And I was like, I ain't that deep. Wait a minute, what happened? Then all of a sudden I realized it. I saw you pop back up in there again. And I was like, but it was so because I was just going on. you were able to go out and come back in, and nobody knew that you had froze up. It was hilarious. But that's the thing. Like I said, I don't need to know about people's sexuality. Right.
There's some ways where it works. There's one TV show on Netflix. I don't know if you're for ghost horror stories. It's called The Haunting of Hill House. Stephen King called it a work of genius, literally. Like Stephen King said that. And it's 10 episodes, and it's really good. But they have a character who we find out, is lesbian, and we see like a love scene, but it works for the story. It's not overdone. You get it. Like there's one scene where she's about to kiss the girl, but she doesn't want him. And the girl's like, what's going on? And she's like, and she's like, why don't you just talk to me? And the main character or the one of the main characters, she's like, you want to know my date? And she goes off on this whole tangent of just the crazy crap that is their lives. And then the girl's like, then they just started kissing. Like, you just knew, like, that's why. It wasn't personal. She didn't want to get close because she just got too much stuff she don't want to talk about. But that's why you got to show the kissing there. But then it was done. They didn't go overboard. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes they go overboard.
And one thing that kind of stuck out for the Dolomite Is My Name movie is when they talk, when you see Rudy, they didn't portray him as straight either. They didn't do anything about. You never saw Rudy with a woman. Period. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't with a man, and he wasn't with a woman. They never addressed his personal life. The whole movie was about him trying to break into Hollywood and get his film made. That was what the movie was about.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was just, he's going to meet with these producers and they don't understand. They were like, no, I don't think, you're trying to get comedy records made. You're trying to make trying to get a record deal where he put out comedy records. Yeah, man. Hell, he had even tried to be like an R&B singer. They didn't want to play. He had so many hustles. Yeah. He was like, okay, I come to Hollywood, and the Hollywood thing ain't working. And he said, well, I'm gonna be a singer. He cut a couple of records. The records didn't do well. All right, well, I'm a comedian, and he really was his act wasn't that funny. And then he started talking to like some of these these homeless black veterans that were, they hung out in the alleys, and they would come into the record store, and he would give them money and stuff so they could get a little alcohol and stuff. And so he and one of the guys, the vets, came in the store and started talking about, he started doing some of the Dolomite routine, because these were like all old, like Black dozen stories that we used to tell each other, like back in the 40s and 50s and stuff. Like, these are old, 8-9 tons of cat shit, and they ain't never been sick. He was doing the whole thing. And Rudy Ray Moore was going, this actually sounds like it could be really funny material. And so he went and talked to like 3 or 4 of these homeless guys, and they were all telling these kind of stories. And he put his tape recorder out and he started recording them. And he was like, okay. He said that could be a good story. He was rewriting the material.
Nice.
He was like, he'd come out with a couple of dollars. He was like, hey, just tell me some stories. And he put his tape recorder down. He started like recording everything. He'd go back home and he'd listen to it. He was like, okay, I can add a punchline there. And he came up with material. So he came up with what he started going around to like these black clubs and performing as Dolomite. And that became his hustle. And then all of a sudden he said, well, I need to put out a record. He recorded like a whole album, he invited a bunch of people to because he couldn't afford a recording studio. So he took all the furniture out of his house and put everything in his living room, and had like about 30 people in there. Nice. And put up some kind of 8-track tape recorder thing. And he just came through his curtains at his house, and he did his little Dolomite stand-up set, and then they pressed the records themselves. I mean, he's a straight up hustler. It reminds me like when you hear about people like MC Hammer, and they're taking, like, MC Hammer was selling records out of the trunk of his car in Oakland. He was going all around, and finally he moved about 100,000 albums. This is facts. This is how he got his record deal, because when he got his record deal, he got like $1 million. He got like $1 million record deal in like 87, 88 or whatever, because he could track those sales. People
Jesus
all up.
Christ. Oh, he
Think about
just
how big
talked to
California is,
100,000.
though.
Well, yeah, that's true. But that's a hustle, my dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He
saying. He
went
was
out.
hustling.
Wow.
That dude was just putting out little tapes. He would cut. He tracked. He was able to sell like about 100,000.
And that was
records.
just in California.
Yeah, he was just.
He didn't
going
drive
up and
around.
down.
He was in his backyard, just
He was making.
Wow.
He's talking about. I watch his behind the music, and I mean MC Hammer was so smart, man. That's what sometimes I think a lot of these artists they lose that hunger when they get paid, when they make money, because all of a sudden when he's got $30-40 million laid back, he don't have that same hunger. But as that guy that was like, yo, let me throw these tapes off in my trunk, and there's a big show, there's a big hip hop show down here at the Palladium Club tonight. Let me go out here and sell stuff to these guys that are out in the audience to see this concert. So yeah, he was out there hustling, man. I really respected what MC Hammer did, but he sold enough records, and people start playing the tapes and stuff like on some of these underground hip hop shows, and he was getting traction. He didn't even have a record deal, and people was playing his stuff on the radio, especially in Oakland. His stuff was blowing up in the Bay Area.
If you could sell just 100,000 in Oakland, that just goes to show you why the record deal was so. Is it because, hey, we could do that much in Oakland? Just imagine worldwide. Just imagine when you think about gold status, platinum status. That's it. That's it.
Being able to just to hustle in the Bay Area, go up to Los Angeles, sell records, and do all this kind of stuff. I really, when I've heard his story, I really respected his hustler spirit. So when I see Rudy Ray Moore's story and hear about him, he was like, I can't afford studio time. I'll just get a little, I'll spend a couple $100 on a machine, and I'll record the thing myself, and then I'll press the records myself. You actually see them, and they press the records, and then they're putting their own labels on the records. They're having to like put the shrink wrap on the records and stamp them and everything. I mean, it was straight up ghetto underground. It was just
that's
like
cool. I gotta see that. I want to see that. That's how it was.
And
that's
so
hardcore. That's hardcore.
So when I thought about it, I was like, man, that's sometimes that's why I think the comic book game is. That's what Comicsgate. That's one thing I like about Comicsgate. It's like you see all these people, obviously yourself. You've done like 4 or 5 different projects now.
I'm gonna just keep on doing them, bro. I'm like Dolomite. Somehow someone's gonna find one they're gonna like, but I'm just gonna put them out there. I got too many ideas in my head.
I actually want to show, because let me show this, because you got the Deep Dark on, and let me pull it up, because I want to actually hold up. Now sometimes when I do this, it makes the thing lock up. So hopefully I don't lose you. But let me actually. Okay, hold on. Let me do it. I'm doing it again.
Take your time, man. You're good.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Okay, good. Okay, because sometimes when you do it, I've noticed sometimes when you do the screen share that it makes the screen lock up. So let me see if I can actually get it to. I don't know why it does like that. There we go. This is it. The Deep Dark.
The Deep Dark.
A Lovecraftian horror zine.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, man. So okay. So I always wonder, because like I said, I remember when I talked to you about Galactic Rodents. All your stories, that was one of the things I asked you at that time, that all your stories seem to be different. I don't know what gives you these different ideas. Was this your idea? Was it your artist's idea? How did you come up with this idea?
All right, so there was a big, oh my God, Galactic Wilderness of Mayhem. It was getting close to funding. And JL, I've worked with him on one of my first crowdfunding campaigns, which was over on Kickstarter about 5 years ago. So we worked together. He got work with Marvel when we were in our 3rd issue. So he was doing Marvel work. So we had to pause the project down. And now he has some time open in his schedule. Like, hey, we always talked about doing these one-shot stories, like Tales from the Crypt type stuff. And I pretty much told him, I'm like, what do you want to draw? Like, what's just going to be exciting to you? He's like, I'm done drawing superheroes. He's like, I want to draw women. He flat out said he just wants to draw women in bathing suits. I'm like, okay, great. And he's like Lovecraft. Lovecraft was this dude in the 20s. He wrote some bizarre out there stuff that didn't get any kind of recognition until he died. So posthumously, he got all the recognition. So Lovecraft is kind of like these ancient gods were here before even Earth, or they kind of like run Earth. It's just so deep. There's lore behind this. So I'm like, okay, we'll do that. And I wanted to make it something I would want to write about too. So I said, we'll do Lovecraft meets Jaws. We got your woman in bikinis. So we're going to have a bachelorette party. I'm telling you, we'll do a bachelorette party in the open sea. And all of a sudden it goes awry when you got this unknown aquatic terror just hunting them down. So the monsters is going to be crazy. So I'm just going to say like that. The monsters are going to be crazy. The book is going to be interesting. But I literally wrote this book while Grom was funding, which I don't recommend anybody do. And we're back and forth. And I got my first act, second act, third act. And I'm like, all right, now time to just write it out. Wrote it out in notebook form. Then went to typing it out, and it became what it is. And he started churning out 4 pages. I think we got 4 pages, and we got a cover. And that's our pitch. And it looks pretty good. And
it does. The art is the book going to be black and white, or you just haven't had color?
So here's the thing: the idea was to kind of like go off of the creepy magazines, the eerie magazines of the 70s, which they were literally magazines, and they did that to escape the Comics Code Authority, so they could get away with doing violent stuff and risque stuff. So we're gonna have that magazine format. This book is going to be magazine format, and it's going to be in black and white. Now we do have a stretch goal that, again, I remember how I tell you I forget putting stuff up. I don't even think I got my stretch goals up there, which I got to put when we're done this. So we got like the tier list, but I got to put the stretch goals. Anyway, we do got a stretch goal where if we make, I think how much did we make? I think it's 4K or something like that, maybe 5K, where he'll take the time out to do it in color. But we kept it black and white. We kept it 30 pages, so we got a fresh story, one shot, blah, and we get it out. That's like an IP, boom. And then we'll come out with another story maybe 2 months, 3 months later. We're just like a machine. We just want to get this machine started on like this horror zine kind of little franchise.
Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, the art looks very interesting. And let's see. Since I backed you on Galactic Rodents, so you got this Deep Dark collection. That is your $40 perk. I remember what's your shipping gonna run like on that?
That one for national is $5. Like national, like domestic $5. The shipping for international is what always kills us. But I'm just saying they charge so much. 25 for the UK. I think it's like 24 like Belgium, and then you got like Canada's not too bad, but it's just what it is. I know I had one international backer that was a big backer that they DM'd me on Reddit. And I put a post on Reddit. It got 132 upvotes. Within the hour, deleted. Okay, there's got a big haters on Reddit.
I've had some problems on Reddit, and I've spoke about that. I had put a video up, and I know they had pretty clear rules. I'd had my account on Reddit for over 7 years at that point, so I knew, and especially in some of the comic book threads I was in, they had rules like don't mention Comicsgate, don't say it. And so like I would just put up videos, and the videos were just talking about, hey, I saw this TV show, this is happening, here's an article from comicbook.com, and this are my thoughts on it. It wouldn't be anything about Comicsgate. It would just be about comics in general, pop culture, entertainment type stuff. Right. Someone watched my video, and then they go, oh my God, you're a Comicsgater. I know who you are. And when they said that, they let the mods know that I was in Comicsgate, and then all of a sudden I got a DM from the mod talking about that I was banned and stuff.
Banned from Reddit? Yeah,
I can never ever post in that thread again. And I mean, it's a big thread with like 900,000 comic book fans in it, and I can never post in that thread ever again.
Didn't Jim Zub one time say something? Oh, it's important, Comicsgate, and even he mentioned Reddit.
I don't know. I mean, the whole thing, like I said, when I tried to talk to the mod, and the mod wasn't having it. So it was kind of a strange situation where I felt like I kind of got thrown under the bus there. The mod the mod felt like you're a comic skater, and I was like, I said I am actually a comic skater, but I didn't break Reddit rules. No, none of my posts. If I say you look at my posts, there's no post mentioning comic skate. I didn't mention comic skate in the videos. I've never violated Reddit rules. And
they get you back in?
No, I'm comic skate. So that's all there is to it. You don't have to be fair with me because I'm comic skate.
Yeah. People with power. They got a little bit of power because they're a mod, and they're just like, are you kidding me? When they took my post off after an hour, what you got here, the cover, I had shared that cover on the same group 4 days ago.
Cover, by the way.
Right. It's a cool cover. So I'm like, and I didn't mention anything about, I didn't even, I just say, hey, go on live, whatever. I don't even think I put the link. But okay, so then 4 days later, I show the other cover, which is a pretty cool cover, and I'm getting the post removed for excessive self-promotion.
Yeah, I saw you.
I'm giving you new content in the span of almost 5 days. What? I mean, are you kidding? I'm trying to put a book out. This is the problem where people can't see it, and this is where, like, I thank people like you who open up the channel to people who might not see it. This is where this is the importance of where you got to do the rounds, and because otherwise we can't get exposure anywhere else. We get it, dude, on Facebook for Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. You said that book, you knew it was something special. Dude,
as soon as I saw the cover, I saw that one cover you showed, and you got the copper barrel with the big gun. I was like, this shit is dope, man. I was digging it right then. I thought it was dope. I was like, I thought that was an interesting concept. Kanan said he had fun drawing the cover he did for you. It was like he was like, yeah, he said, man, that's an interesting.
That's what I want to do. It's fun, right? You see the power there. My target audience would be Ninja Turtle people. They like anthropomorphic stuff. They would see it and they'd resonate with them. Wow, this takes me back, bruh. I'm getting my poster getting removed in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Facebook group that has over 40,000 or 8,000. I don't know how many people. Dude, are you kidding me? I didn't even say anything about Kickstarter. I mean, I'm Indiegogo, nothing about crowdfunding. I didn't say nothing. I just said, hey, guys, what do you think? It's like getting your feedback. What do you think kind of thing? And I showed the cool cover that you like. Bro, dude took it off. And we message each other. And I'm like, what rule did I break? Oh, because of I'm like, I didn't even drop the link. Dude, I'm losing it, bro, because that's people. This dude is literally putting the hands off of everybody in that group. And it's just hate, it's shade, it's people just being haters, it's SJW, whatever you want to call it. It's just, maybe he knew I was Comic Zay because I'm Indiegogo. Maybe he knows. He's like, okay, everyone who crowdfunds this Kickstarter, but hold up, Indiegogo, what the hell? And maybe it just, for him, it's just like, okay, that's Comic Zay. Maybe that's why. He just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I ended up creating on Reddit, a separate account so that I can have access to those. Like if I want to drop a link in something, and I was like, that was just somewhat. Like I said, I thought that was a little unfair.
Very unfair. Very unfair.
I was like, because someone identified. I guess they saw me on Ethan's channel, and they were like, that guy's in Comicsgate.
They're watching.
And they sent me a message that's like, I just watched a video from a comic skater.
Like it was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like I just I was like, well, I mean, you watched the video. Do you hate it, or do you just hate me because I'm Comic Skate? I just thought that the whole thing was strange. And like I said, and then when they said that, the mod contacted me. Post got removed, all this kind of thing, and he said you're permanently banned from this thread. And I was like, is there not an appeals? Because that was another thing I was asking. I said, can I not appeal this? And he was done talking after a certain point. He was just like, no, you're Comicsgate. I don't need to.
How do you create a subreddit? Should we create one that's just r/Comicsgate?
But see, I don't. That's the thing. I don't think Reddit would allow there to be a Comicsgate thread.
Oh man, this is bad.
Because trust me, I suspect.
That would be awesome.
If you even mention it, like I said, on the comic, there's a couple of comic book threads, like there's an indie comics thread and all this kind of stuff. All the threads that I'm in, like if you mention Comicsgate, you're done. Do you understand? It's a violation of terms of service or something. Yeah, so you can't.
I love it.
Yeah, you definitely don't know. I'm telling you. So it's interesting because there's so many people interacting on Reddit, and then so you can't even drop a link to a comic with, hey, check it. No, that guy's Comscape. Oh wow, okay, that kind of thing. But I see people dropping like Kickstarters and stuff like that on there all the time, and they don't have any issues. It's like, that guy's associated with Comscape. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I posted on Facebook and I'll drop my thing and it's Indiegogo, and someone's like, I don't like Indiegogo. I'm like, well, let me tell you something from a creator standpoint, because I use both. I got burned on Kickstarter by backers that, for whatever reason, their pledges don't go through, and that's coming out of my pocket. And I'm talking about
that's one thing I like about Indiegogo. When people spend their money, it's actually they get the money, because what happens? What was it? The gentleman I had the guy that had that bric-a-brac comic on. I had him on twice.
Yeah. Right.
And that was the thing, when the first time I had him on, he only had like 4 or 5 days left on the campaign, and he was struggling to get funded, right? On Kickstarter. And some quote unquote good Samaritan came up and they pledged like $5,000 for his campaign to get him funded. They pledged. And see, here's the problem with Kickstarter that I see that Indiegogo doesn't have, because like, okay, say here, you got your Deep Dark above cover, right? And it's $15. If I click on that right now and buy it, then they're gonna charge my card right then.
Right away.
Right. So on Kickstarter, I can be like, okay, put me down for $500. And they're just holding that as a pledge. You're not getting your card charged. Unless the campaign, they won't charge you unless the campaign actually gets funded. And a lot of times what happens is, say you're running a 60-day campaign and you're on Kickstarter, it's like, okay, well, this guy pledged $500. When it goes, I didn't think you were going to get funded. I really don't want to support the project.
They cancel it, or even the card. Sometimes the card, like, it's over the limit. So let's say he only had a $10 limit. I'm just saying, and he puts $500. He knows, like, it's not going to go through no matter what, because you only got X amount. It'll be declined, and that's going to hurt you. I had one pledge for my Pistoletta campaign when I did it on Kickstarter first. I had a 250 cameo award, whatever. That dude's pledge didn't go through. So guess what? That $250 would have been nice towards the shipping. Guess what? That's just shelling that out of pocket. So you counting on that. So that's another reason why I don't want to. I don't think I'm going to go back ever to Kickstarter. All my new campaigns are all coming to Indiegogo. But one thing I do see with Kickstarter, I just see that there's people that are oblivious to Indiegogo. They don't know it exists. They just go for Kickstarter. So just like, man, there's an audience there that I could cultivate, that I could just get email. I could get their email contact. That's just more for me. If I, so that's just making me think I want to expand my reach. And these people that don't even know Indiegogo exists go for everything being on Kickstarter. It's like, damn, there's good stuff here that they'll never know.
A lot of people don't know. Kickstarter, Indiegogo actually was started before Kickstarter was. It's actually the older platform.
That's interesting.
But Kickstarter exploded, and it has like 2 or 3 times the audience that Indiegogo has. And Comicsgate has made a lot. Comicsgate has made Indiegogo a lot of money. But they say about $3 million, 3.1 or something $1 million in Comicsgate projects have been funded through Indiegogo, which is money that would have, because like Jawbreakers was supposed to be on Kickstarter, and obviously they decided not to put it on there, right? So they cost them a lot of money. Whoever decided that they did not want to list your boy Zach, because Ethan would have followed right up, and then John Malin would have followed right up, and you know what I'm saying, because John Malin was part of the Jawbreakers campaign, so he would have, when he put Graveyard Shift up, he would have put Graveyard Shift there. So think about all the millions of dollars that Kickstarter just threw away because someone there decided that they did not want to be associated with people that have quote unquote wrong think. They're not it's actually real think.
It's actually real think, right? It's a wrong thing, but I get it. Yeah, it's just like, this is the sad thing with this indoctrination bull crap.
Yeah, well, it's very frustrating because, like I said, that's you see what's happening with Reddit and all that. So
On Facebook, holy cow. Twitter,
Yeah.
that's why I like Twitter. I mean, I got a big following on Twitter. I get a lot of interaction on Twitter because I figured out the learning curve and I can promote on there and engage. In Facebook, there's some groups that I'm plugged in Facebook that I know are completely SJW because I've had conversations. Remember talking about the Batman? You did a tweet on the Batman casting. I had did a tweet on the Batman casting, and I know that just I get it. You're the SJWs that I'm always hearing about. So this group is mainly SJW, and in that same group, I've heard them say, "Oh, check out this," or "I bet the Comicsgate Viscera are all up in arms over there." They'll talk nasty about Comicsgate. So I know when I post an Indiegogo link and it's not Kickstarter, I know that it's just there, but I don't make it toxic. I don't just like call them out. Hey, I'm a Comicsgate. I don't do it because I know they're gonna ban me. They're gonna ban me. They're gonna kick me out of the group. So I gotta play nice just to just throw my stuff out there. But if they ask me, I'm not gonna negate it.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna negate it. I'm not gonna. I'm like, yeah, I'm Comicsgate, and what?
When that person commented, when that person commented on my Reddit post, the YouTube video I shared, they go, "Oh, you're Comicsgate," and I said, "Yeah, I am," but I said, I've never broke the rules of this thread. I don't promote Comicsgate on Reddit. I understand you can get banned for that. And it was so funny when Jawbreakers was the first Jawbreakers was making all that money. People were trying to talk about it on, I think it was comicbook.com, and they were getting immediately, they were immediately getting blocked and banned in the forum because there was so many people. It's like, yo, man, have you guys checked out this Jawbreakers campaign? Boop, deleted. Boop, you're banned. Boop, it was that kind of thing. So it was automatic. There was a intentional, it looked like a group of people were intentionally trying to like, hey, don't talk about Cyberfrog. Cyberfrog, don't post Cyberfrog in this forum. It's like that kind of thing. Even if you don't go, yay, Comicsgate, any of this kind of stuff, it's like, hey, Ethan Van Sciver just drew some pages for Cyberfrog and posted them, and I think they look really cool. Don't you post that in here. Delete it. You're blocked.
You don't know how bad in that same group that I'm talking about, when I got Ethan's book and I took a cool screenshot and I put it out on Twitter, I wanted so bad, like, hey guys, you're always putting up books, like, what do you think of this book? But I just do, like, you know what? And I gotta admit, I got in some decent backers in that same group. Like I said, innocuous. They don't know about the drama, and they'll be like, wow, that looks cool, and they'll back it. So I appreciate that. So I don't want to lose not even 2 or 3 backers trying to give into the whole, I just try to stay away from the politics. But I'm not going to deny it ever. But it just sucks that we're getting blocked left and right. Reddit will get blocked. Facebook will get blocked. Anywhere you'll get blocked. And it's just like, how? Well, this is why we need to be on channels. This is why we need to, hey, if you're Comicsgate, we got to have something where we're showing out Comicsgate book, because guess what? Ain't no one showing Comicsgate book.
That was one of the things. I remember when I had a Pixel Trader on, and we were talking about IndieCron, and then we were talking about their decision, because before that I had Jean-Luc Marcel on, who had been part of the IndieCron team, and he had talked about why there was a focus on what they on just showcasing Comicsgate projects, and some people were like, no, you're gatekeeping and all this kind of thing. And I agreed with Jean-Luc, and I said so because I do feel like, because of my experience on Reddit, some of the things you're mentioning happening on Facebook and other platforms, we are kept out. We are blocked. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Because we're being blocked just for being Comicsgate and just trying to promote a comic. Jawbreakers, there wasn't a bunch of sex and stuff in Jawbreakers. I've got Jawbreakers. It was just like a fun superhero, kind of G.I. Joe with superpowers.
Definitely G.I. Joe, yeah.
Is that kind of thing. So, you just showed Jawbreakers. Richard C. Myers, part of the alt-right. We've got to get rid of you. It's that kind of stuff. And I was like, there is a lot. That's why, everybody's like, well, there's a bunch of websites that showcase independent comics. And I say, yeah, how many of those are actually showing projects from creators that are actually openly Comicsgate? And that's I don't like that, So there does need to be, that's there does need to be a platform that showcases, Comicscape projects. So when Indicron made that shift, and they go, well, and like I said, Pixel Trader, I felt like he explained himself pretty well. They felt like just marketing strictly to Comicscape, they felt like it was limited, and they wanted to focus more on quote unquote independent creators because that's a larger audience. And I understand you're not wanting to, just to pigeonhole yourself. Mm-hmm. But at the same point in time, I thought Indicron, I knew when I looked at my sales, I've had like about almost $3,000 worth of sales that were directly
from Indicron.
Yeah, from Indicron. So I'm sitting there going, if obviously my campaign's been pretty successful, right? But what about a smaller guy? Okay, like on your campaign right here for the Deep Dark, you only got a goal of like $2,000. I'm sure you're hoping to get more than that, just like you did on Galactic Rodents. But there are guys, you can get a small print run, a couple hundred books or whatever for X amount of dollars, and you could just constantly put out books that are just small runs like that.
That works.
Yeah,
works. I'll take it just to get some stuff out there. It's a beautiful thing. And like I said, from what you're saying, I think Comicsgate is such a movement, and I get all the drama within is just ridiculous. But I think there needs to be at least some type of, I don't know if you're gonna call it like a round table or something that literally has to figure out a way to keep the fighting. Just keep it on. I get fighting's going to happen. I get it. Drama's drama. But understand, hey, to have something openly called Comicsgate and it be such a force that you can't, no matter how much you want to ban it in Facebook, ban it in Reddit, it's like, it's going to be in your face. You know what I'm saying? So that would help the movement a lot more and show the legs. You know what I'm saying? Because you're always going to have the powerhouses like Ethan, Malin. You're always going to have the powerhouses. But then you got a lot of up-and-comers, yourself, Clint, Von Claus, Cal Jameson, Shinobi Sasquatch, myself, Captain USA. Like there's a lot of stuff coming up. That's top quality. That's indie. Adam Post got his book. So it's just like, why not have this force? That's Comicsgate, whatever. And even though within Comicsgate you don't like whatever Mike Miller don't like, who gives a damn? Let's just show that, hey, this is a Comicsgate listed book on this site or whatever it is. So people that want to back Comicsgate know where to go. And this is where you got to own up. Like you said, you put up or shut up. If you're Comicsgate, you got to be in all the way. And if you flake out at any moment, guess what? You already outed. It has to be done in that way to preserve, because again, if you're going to not be Comicsgate, you got to risk something. I'm risking getting banned in Facebook, getting banned in Reddit. I'm taking that risk by doing. You took that risk. You got it. We know what it's like to say, guess what? I'm that. And I'm willing to take what comes with it. I had someone on Bleeding Cool that I tried to reach out when I wanted to get Galactic Orders of Mayhem out. Hey, let's talk about Galactic Orders of Mayhem. It looks like a good book. Your Comicsgate. Okay, what's the problem? How do I offend you? Oh, some people are attacking me. I'm like, I'm not attacking you. I'm saying I got a cool book out. Comicsgate is a great audience. I'm like, what's the problem? Well, I'll put it out there. I have a contact that can blast it over the mainstream channels. I'm just going to need one thing from you. You know what I'm going to need? I'm going to need you to denounce Comicsgate, and I'll quote you, and I can do an article. I'm like, dude, you're more about me denouncing Comicsgate than actually promoting my book. You don't care about my book.
Yeah, Rich seems to, I've seen Rich on Twitter and stuff. Rich seems, and just based on the articles he writes, he seems to have a personal bone against Ethan Van Sciver to pick. He seems to, here's his thing. Okay, like
a hater, dude.
He had an article about a week or two ago, and Ethan actually addressed it on a live stream where he had gotten the layout for what was the Jawbreakers God King cover that he was supposed to draw from Richard C. Meyer. Richard C. Meyer is, he's the writer and creator of Jawbreakers. Yeah. But like, if you ever saw going back 7-8 years ago when he put Kickstarter, he put the first Jawbreakers book, which got remastered in his Indiegogo last year. He got recolored, and some of the art things got tweaked, and some of the lettering and stuff it got fixed. So they did Jawbreakers Remastered, but that was actually book one of the God King saga, and then they had the other part of Jawbreakers, which was part two of the God that was done by Kelsey Shannon, And then they also had Jawbreakers Lost Souls, which was, illustrated by John Malin. So that was all that you got in the first Jawbreakers book. And then obviously we're picking up with Guy King, which I think he says is going to start shipping out like within the next week. I know he's going to Canada to sign comics. So, he's going to, if you backed at that tier. So that's one of the things, Richard had put a couple of books. I think he had another project called No Enemy But Peace that I think he wrote about someone that he was in, I think, Afghanistan with. But the thing
did
is,
Richard Meyer ever do like work for the big two?
I think he said he had one. He has a published credit in an Image comic from like 10, 15 years ago or something. It was just like a little, I think it was only a couple of pages or something. I think I had to get some clarification on that. But I remember in a couple of videos, he says, I have one credit from Image Comics for a book. But yeah,
so people know him from his YouTube channel of like dissecting the SJW, so that's where he got most of his.
Yeah, that's where he got
from.
Yeah, because nobody knew that he had done anything that had gotten published or whatever. But he's talked about it.
He put it out. He put it out in the open when no one did, which is awesome.
Yeah, but like you take someone like Rich Johnson, Richard took some art,
right,
and he drew. He's like, oh, this is kind of what I want the cover to look like, blah 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 blah. And he sent it to Ethan, and then Ethan drew the cover, which obviously turned out beautifully. Kyle Ritter colored it, and it was magnificent, the whole deal. But apparently, Rich wanted to throw some shade at Ethan and say, oh, Ethan, he copied another artist that had done some green. He had done, I think it was Green Lantern, Emerald Twilight or something, one of those little miniseries. And he had a similar pose where Green Lantern's like holding his power ring up or something like that. And the God King's in that same pose. But Ethan drew it like that because Richard did that. But Rich never did
it. Exactly. He's following the blueprint of how this cover Richard wanted. And Rich is trying to make Rich from Bleeding Cool trying to make a whole copyright thing.
He's trying to say, oh yeah, he just copied off this artist, and I was like, that kind of, I mean, he's done a couple other things that I thought was real suspect, but it really showed me. I was like, okay, man, I get, it's like you don't even pretend that you're trying to be fair now.
That's the problem. Exactly. That I learned a lot, and it's real. This hate against Comicsgate is real. So when there's creators that want to be Comicsgate, guess what? You need to own up. You need to own up to that. You got to put something on the line. And I understand where like EVS, like from what I've heard, he will put someone on a show. Yeah, I'm Comicsgate, and they're like, they're not Comicsgate. Like, come on, man. You got the good blessing, you got a little exposure, but now you're just like, you got to take the shots, man. It's part of being something. You're all in. You take the shots. And for whatever reason, if you don't want to be Comicsgate, I get that. But you got to respect the movement. And if you don't get featured on some of the big shows, you got to understand why.
Right. Well, and like I said, but that's what I thought, Bleeding Cool. I thought they're trying to, Rich, I thought Rich was trying to pretend that he was trying to be impartial. And if something is out there, that he would just be, but I see he doesn't care about facts. Mm-hmm. He just wants to put it out there. So, he just like, hey, Ethan ripped off a fellow artist. Let me run with that. And it didn't matter.
That's a good quote.
I don't know. It's like, but that's the thing. Like I said, it was. I saw it and I was like, it's a pretty. Not to mention, I mean, I've seen a lot of Ethan's Green Lantern art, and he would draw like Green Lantern holding the fist up with the ring glowing.
So you got to see the ring. It's like
it's a big action shot. It's not. I don't know. Like I said, I thought Rich jumped out there just trying to, hey, gotcha,
and then get nothing. Like I said, just trying to reach, and you're being made on just the idiocy of just trying to say this. Trying to create a story that there is none.
Yeah, so like I said, that's why I was like, man, that's kind of corny, bro, that you put that up there like that because you didn't even do your research, man. That's funny. But like I said, his whole purpose is to do all these hit pieces and everything. So like I said, it's hilarious. But hey, man,
this is just one thing because So Comicsgate, right? Like you Comicsgate, right? We get hit on both sides, right? Now there was someone that I reached out to, right? Who at one point was Comicsgate, but I revere them so much. And I know they have a channel, and I reached out because I wanted to be in their channel. And they're like, yeah, your book looks great and all, but your comics that I can't, I don't want my audience to know it. I'm like, dude, like, are you like, dude, you're blocking me because I'm like Comicsgate? But I revere the person so much, I can't get mad at them. But it's just like, oh man, dude, it's just, and it's cool when they talking to you and there's a respect there. You can have a good little email combo back and forth. But it's like, really, man? Oh, this is why, like, I think someone put a comment there, like Art to Bear was saying, like, you gotta have something behind closed doors. Don't put out the dirty laundry and just have just sit down. So even if it's a live stream, that you don't even have to make it live. Look between you guys and say, hey, listen, I get there has to be a gatekeeping element. I get all that. But if someone's saying their Comicsgate and they show the work and it looks good and you can see their tweets and you can see, hey, they're pretty much, yeah. And then they do an about face, guess what? You're done. It's like we got to be like Reddit and just you're done because you got to protect the movement. You got to protect the ideals of the movement. But if we could, keep that going and foster that, Comicsgate, it could be something special and dangerous. And that's what I want to be a part of. And that's why I identify with Comicsgate, because it could be the punch in the face to mainstream media. When people like, I'm tired of Terminator, Dark Fate, I'm tired of this soy, guess what? Comicsgate is where you want to be. With all this soy comic stuff, guess what? Comicsgate is where it's at. That's why I'm excited about.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that, man. That's like, and like I said, it's fun. Like I said, watching the success you had with Galactic Rodents, I was really happy about that.
Appreciate
and
that.
Definitely congratulations on that. And I'm looking forward to receiving my copy.
You're going to get that copy signed, brother. And thanks to the people who felt like they believed in it. And that's what helped it. Because a lot of people believed in it, said, guess what? I don't want this dude to relaunch another campaign in black and white. They're like, I want this book in color. And people banded together. They tweeted it out. And boom, it was able to get done. So big blessing.
All right. Well, Mr. Deltrez, I have enjoyed talking to you. This has been a fun conversation. How can people reach out to you if they want to get more of Gilly Deltrez?
Definitely, guys, check me out on Twitter at Gilbert Deltrez. I also have a YouTube channel, Gilly Writes Comics and Stuff. You can check out, subscribe. I'm putting out a lot of stuff there, talking about what we need to talk about, but it's getting blocked all over the place. So it's only time before maybe Antonio and I get blocked, right? And then also just check out Galactic Rodents of Mayhem on Indiegogo. Also check out The Deep Dark on Indiegogo, because we're putting out good stuff in the name of great comics, and that's what Comicsgate is about. So you'll have fun, guys. And thank you, Antonio. Again, we talk and this time just flies. I love it, man. That's we got that chemistry going, brother.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, you bring a lot to the conversation. I enjoyed this. Thanks to everybody that was hanging out in the chat.
Appreciate all y'all.
It's been real, and I've enjoyed the conversation. And yeah, get out there and back the Deep Dark and check out Galactic.
I actually got a backer for being on here. Thank you to whoever backed. I appreciate it. Awesome.
Yeah, well, hey, that's what it is, man. I always like seeing that. Please support these great independent comic creators. This is hey, this is what we're here for, man. And I've got some more streams coming up. I'm gonna have Literature Devil will be on Saturday. Saturday night I'm gonna do we're gonna what's his book, Dr. Alpha, I think, or something like it. I can't remember.
Doc Alpha.
Yeah. He's gonna be on Saturday. Might have Tug on Friday,
awesome.
But we haven't finalized that yet. I would definitely like to talk to Tug and pick his brain. So yeah, definitely.
Tug is a good one.
Yes, I definitely. But we've got those coming up, so look out for those. And obviously, I will be on the Wrestling Council tomorrow night. If I'm not mistaken, it is on Boogie Bentley's channel, the S&B network, and you can check my channel description and my feature channels list. It'll definitely be there. You can check out his channel and check out Yuli Carter's channel, who is also one of the co-hosts of the Wrestling Council. So I'm really looking forward to talking to both of these gentlemen. And again, my thanks to Mr. Gilbert Deltrez. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. And if you guys want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel, everywhere is at Akari Press. And if you type in akaripress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign, at least until December 2nd. It's closing for Brand with the phenomenal Kanan White. We're on Teespring and Amazon.com. The links to those are in the description. Back the deep dark.
Please. Later, guys.